we need to find the domain of this function where we have x plus 3 all over 2 minus the square root of x minus 3. So this is complicated because it's both a rational function where the domain cannot equal 0. Also, there is a radical within that domain, and with radical functions, the radicand, what's inside that radical, that has to be greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so let's just start with the denominator, 2 minus square root of x minus 3. We have a problem when that is equal to 0. Okay, so I'm going to add that square root to both sides, so I would get 2 equals the square root of x minus 3. And then I can solve that by squaring both sides. So I've got 4 equals x minus 3, and then adding 3 to both sides, we get x equals 7. That's a problem area. Okay, so this is all undefined. All right, so that's part of our domain, x cannot equal 7. Now let's look at what happens with the part that has a square root. We want to make sure that the radicand, that square root, that x minus 3, that needs to be positive. So we'll just set that greater than or equal to 0. So x needs to be greater than or equal to 3. Okay, so when we put those two pieces together, for me it helps to graph this. Okay, so we're looking at our domain. Here we're at 3. And so it can be equal to 3 and greater than 3. So we're just going along happily graphing until we get to 7, and then that's an undefined. Okay, so our domain would go from 3 to 7, or from 7 to infinity, where we're using those parentheses at the 7 because we don't want to include the 7. And that's our domain.